Hello, and welcome back to Mortals and Portals, which just happens to be a Pathfinder Real Play podcast. And I am your host and GM, Zach. And joining me at the table are some other people. And the first one that's joining me is...
Why?
And I am Adam, and I play Jhuls, an Azerketi that is also a bard, and he's got blue skin.
Coincidentally, my name is Joel, and I play Dax, a kobold rogue who's a little guy who's red and has ears, not horns. Don't get it twisted. You're next, Ryan.
I, Ryan, am in this podcast as well and play an automaton inventor with the name that is tough.
Yes.
It's okay, bud. You can tell us.
And I, Terran type here, with the champion is my character type in facilities of maintenance requests. And I play Waltz, the human champion.
Did you say Terran type?
Yeah.
Like you're a Pokemon?
Yeah. Hey, that's good. I'm happy. I got to...
Zach set the tone for one.
I never got to do that. Except
Very
one time I sounded
fantastic.
sleepy and you guys all mocked me, but I wasn't even trying to do anything. So
You finally
I guess
set the
it's
tone, and this is
time.
what you landed on, huh?
Yeah, intentionally.
Yeah. Never again, Zach.
Yeah, cool. Just like to keep people on their toes every now and then, you know? Let's see. Last time on Mortals and Portals, Waltz, Dax, and Tuff started storming the beach, making their way to the opening in the wall. They're doing a pretty good job. They're killing some kitsune. Waltz literally like blew up a guy. Like it makes me think of Anchorman where they're like, Brett killed a guy, you know? So yeah, Waltz finally he just killed a guy. He's just like, I'm doing this now. So maybe
I blew up a guy too.
Well, you didn't really give me a choice
yeah.
in it. You just said he blew up.
I mean,
that
but
was-
you killed him. You did the damage, and I decided he blew up. Either way, you killed
Oh,
him.
yeah,
so-
wait. So Waltz killed a guy.
Yeah, Waltz killed a guy.
Well, he's an undead guy.
Yeah, he kind of...
No, that was just a kitsune.
No, it was just a kitsune. Oh,
Yeah.
Terran.
He just killed
Yeah.
him. Is it just because the planet's like about to blow up, so you just don't have time to worry about that? Would you say?
I guess. I mean,
There's just
we not
not-
even-
you made me do it. I don't know what I would say.
You rolled the damage, bro. He died. Yeah, sure. I described it a little more intense.
He's got a
probably,
point.
than
You
Waltz
said you
would've
shot
liked.
like an electric, like lightning.
I don't know
bolt
what you
thing.
expected.
Yeah.
Was it
I
good
mean, it was.
tickle?
I shot a cantrip. I didn't think a cantrip would just blow a guy up. A one
never
action
do.
cantrip, guys.
Waltz is like, I was trying to tase him. I didn't
That
think
just
he'd
changed
die.
everything, and apparently, Waltz is a murderer now.
Yeah, I mean, we'll figure it out. I mean, it makes sense. The planet's plummeting. So,
Yeah.
You just thought it'd be like, ow, and then give up.
like, Waltz, it's one thing to hit people with a bag of apples, but once you start like shooting lightning at them, you kind of need to be prepared for some intense
For your
things.
consequences.
What do you
Your
think you
actions.
are, a T-Rex?
Yeah. I guess I forgot how strong I was for real.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I've been
Well.
leveling up. Jeez.
This is why we need to do downtimes after our episodes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Anyways, and
What else happened,
yeah,
Zach?
yeah. I don't know. You guys are fighting your way there. They're shooting volleys at you. You're killing some kitsune. You're making your way there. You almost made it all the way there, and then Q knew bad thing happening. You knew the Merkman was coming. You knew he was coming, but you didn't know he was coming with a bunch of undead on his back. You didn't know he could do that, did you? And then
No.
he tipped his wing and dumped them all there in front of the opening. And then he just was like, I'm going to go rest for a second because I went through a lot to get here. I used some abilities. I'm going to rest. And yeah, that's what you guys are doing.
He's a
And
wuss.
then, yeah, okay. And then Jhuls, he entered Caverna de Luz. And he's basically up on this big land bridge and has to work his way down. He's very high up in the cavern. And there was also some undead in there. And he was battling them, and he was killing them, and he was doing some cool stuff, being awesome. And then after he killed him, he turned around, and there was Raul. And him and Raul had some banter back and forth, a little bit of a discussion, if you will. And he likened the situation on Lorthal to the Fade, which was a plague that would start to spread throughout your body. And if you let it spread, it would kill you. Or you could amputate the limb if you were lucky enough to have it be on a limb that you could live without. And he's essentially saying that Lorthal is infected, and Lorthal is the limb, and Keldora is the body. And you can be a optimistic fool and hope you can find a cure, but then let it consume the whole body. Or you could just deal with it now and do the hard thing and amputate Lorthal, is essentially what he's saying. And Jhuls, of course, is a hero and doesn't like the option where you allow 1/7 of Keldora to just die to save the rest, and he wants to find another way. So he is going to battle Raul. And Raul essentially revealed that he killed Renard, giving Jhuls even further fuel for this battle. And that is where we ended our session. So that is where we'll start our session. Jhuls,
That means I get to play.
can you roll me an athletics check?
23.
Cute number, bro.
Uh-oh. Something tells me that might not be enough.
I've been Zach's brother-in-law long enough.
Jhuls, you're face to face with Raul. You both essentially told each other that you were about to fight to the death. He's essentially said that he has no expectation of surviving this. He is in this to the bitter end. He is going to stay in Caverna de Luz and make sure that this city falls. You already kind of knew that when you saw them blow the tunnel and they said that it was Raul's orders, but you have no reason to think that this fight will end in anything other than death, and he has nothing to lose, so you need to be prepared. And as he raises his blade up in front of his face and gives you a subtle nod with his head and lowers it to his side, you see him close his eyes for a moment and tilt his head down and then look up, and his entire body glows with the same green energy you've seen fill the undead prior to the Flora de Vida. And he dashes towards you, flying down the land bridge at incredible speed, and is going to try and slash at you with his sword. Of course, a 17 doesn't hit you, does it?
Nope. I was worried you were going to say it.
Yeah.
Same.
He raises the sword up over his head, and you see it sparking with green energy, and he swings it down, and you take your trident with both hands and lift it above your head and perpendicular meet his blade, and it blocks it, and sparks fly off your blade. The energy that Eddard filled you with to give you greater protection, and his sword bounces off behind his arm with force he did not expect as he looks back at his sword in confusion and towards you and says, "Is this your power?"
It is now.
This will be a great final dance indeed. And he twirls his sword and then takes a very defensive looking stance as he holds it horizontal across his face, almost covering his eyes, and then beckons you with his other hand. That'll take us to you, Jhuls.
I smirk. I say, very well. Let this be my finale. And I throw the trident at him to start.
Okay.
That is a 25.
You go to throw the trident at him, and you feel like it was a sure hit, but he very quickly swipes his blade and smacks it off course, and it starts to fall into the depths of the cavern. And I imagine you use your returning rune and suck it back up into your hand, and you can tell that when he took that defensive stance rather than attacking you again, he was able to bolster his AC. And he tilts his head and goes, mocking you.
As I bring it back to me, I let it fly past, and I do the classic Jhuls combo and use
Ooh,
telekinetic projectile
nice.
and send it back at him again.
All right. Roll it. Multi-attack penalty, though.
That is a 22.
You send the trident back at him, and you can tell that he used up that defense ability he had to defend that last strike. But then he sees the other one coming and he's a little more vulnerable, but he does roll on the ground, dodging it as it goes over his head again, and you send it back to your hand and catch it, and you guys are trading blow for blow.
I smirk at him. Very nice. But how long can you keep this up?
Until Lorthal is destroyed. And he raises his blade up again, and he's going to try and do another strike against you.
I dodge it.
Does a 26 hit you?
It does.
This is like some real anime because they're like having a conversation while they're attacking each other.
As it should be, Joel.
No, I'm here for it.
You see him, he inverts his blade, tilting it downwards like Star Killer from The Force Unleashed, and he goes to slash it across, but then lets go in the final moment, and you feel like the momentum is still coming that way, and then he drops 20 and spins and catches it with his other hand and twirls around and then slashes across your stomach in a completely different angle you did not expect, and he deals 8 damage as it slices across your stomach. Ugh. Never seen that before, have you? And then he is going to kick you, just mocking you at this point, just trying to kick you backwards, not even shoving you off the ledge. And he does not succeed. So you maybe take it in the chest, but then stick your leg out and hold firm. And then he stands sideways, facing his shoulder towards you, and then tilts his head down, waiting for your next attack.
You're going to have to try harder than that. And then I take my ocarina, bring it up to my mouth, and I play a very sharp, it's not even a melody, it's just a bunch of sharp high notes. And Jhuls kind of fades horizontally in and out, and I cast Mirror Image. Suddenly there are 4 Jhulses.
Heck yeah, that's so cool.
And then I will attempt to attack him with my +1 trident.
Do it.
Ooh, this don't hit. Nothing will. It's not a 20. It's a 30.
That hits.
Critical?
No.
And not today.
Diego?
12 damage.
Awesome. You split into multiple mirror images, and you hear Diego saying, "Whoa, why didn't you do this earlier? 4 of you could have easily killed all of that Kizune." And you see Raul tilt his head, confused a little bit, but then starts to look a little more serious and hunker down. You can tell he's not as playful about this because he doesn't quite understand what's going on, or if there truly is 4 of you. And as he's deciphering this, one of your images takes a stutter step forward and he raises his blade to block it, but then you sprint up and slide on the ground with your trident, sliding past him and then cut along his waist. "Ah, curse you! What sorcery is this?" He spins around and he's gritting his teeth and his eyes are flaring with rage. He does not like that you just landed a blow on him. And he is spinning around in circles as he's looking at each of these mirror images, trying to do his best to decipher which one to attack. And he is going to wildly swing his blade, like twirling around and just seeing which one he can hit. So it says here there's a 1 in 4 chance of hitting you.
Do you want to roll or do you want me to roll?
So I go to roll an attack, and if I miss you without critically failing, I automatically destroy an image. And if I do hit you, there's a chance it is the image. So I'm going to roll an attack first.
Go ahead.
And this one definitely misses, but is not a critical miss. So he spins wildly and slashes through one of your images that instantly puffs out into watery mist and fades away. "Curse you!" And then he is going to sprint and jump into the air and stab at another one with the multi-attack penalty, hoping it is you as well. Oof. But he just nat 20'd.
Ooh.
Oh, no.
So
That's not good.
what we're going to do is roll to see if it was you. And if it wasn't, it's
All
going to
right.
destroy both of your remaining images.
Of
Sounds
course it
fair
would.
to me.
It sounds way more than fair, to be honest.
So if you roll a 1 or a 2 on the 1d6, it's going to hit you.
It is not.
Heck yeah.
He stabs through the other mirror image and then rolls through it and then just viciously swipes his blade out as it flares with the green energy as he yells, "Die!" And he slashes through the other image and it also disappears into mist. You see him whip around, his hair on his white kitsune body looks all distraught and flared out wildly, and you see bloodlust in his eyes. He does not like that you just made a fool of him with 3 swings, none of them hitting you, and you could tell they were very powerful, and you're lucky you had your mirror images. And he says, "Out of tricks now, Azarketi."
Ooh.
I'm just getting started.
Ooh.
And that'll take us back to you, Jhuls.
I take my ocarina out and play another song that has a kind of a dip into it, and I'm going to cast Slow.
All right.
Fortitude saving throw. You dilate the flow of time around the target, slowing its actions. So on a crit
Nice.
success, the target is unaffected. On a success, the target is slowed 1 for 1 round. Failure is slowed 1 for 1 minute, and a crit fail is slowed 2 for 1 minute.
Ooh. All right. Fortitude save.
Slow him.
A 16 does not beat your spell DC, does it?
No.
And that is a regular failure.
Nice.
Heck yeah.
He is trudging forward towards you as you were mocking him, saying that you have more tricks. And as he's walking towards you, you play this tune and you just see a mirage like warping around him. And as he's taking 2 steps, he's subtly sliding backwards at the same time, as if he's gaining 1 step for every 2 steps. And he's looking around him very confused. Enough of this keeper magic.
For those that don't know, slowed 1 means that he is now down to 2 actions.
Yep, that's
I did not
Nice.
know that. That's
For 1 minute.
really effective.
Yeah.
for 1 minute.
For
That's-
1 round. It's for 1 round.
Oh, for 1 round.
Oh, is that a regular
Yeah.
success?
Yeah. Yeah. If he
Wow,
hit,
that'd
that
be
was.
insane.
Oh, wait.
It's only
Oh, no, that was a regular failure. Damn.
yeah.
That was a regular failure? So yeah, it's 1 minute.
Holy
Suck
cow.
it, jabroni.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Is there no way to get out of that? That's 10 rounds of combat.
Is that really?
That's,
Yeah.
it's gonna be the
Yeah.
whole fight. That's why I was like, dang, that's
Should have
strong.
done that from the get-go.
Should do
It
that
is a
every
3rd
time.
level spell.
Oh,
Nice.
I see. So
Super
that
clutch.
does make sense then, I guess.
Yeah.
That is 2 actions. For my last action, why not just stabby with him again with the trident? Do that thing.
Do it.
I swear my D20 like goes and hides.
Do it.
That's a miss. That's a miss for sure.
All right. As he's trying to make sense of what's going on with his body, looking very frustrated, you try and take advantage of his confusion and stab at him with your trident. But impressed by his awareness and ability to combat your attacks, despite him trying to discern this magic that's being cast on him, he swipes his blade down and knocks your trident off to the side. And he looks at you and says, I have let this go on long enough. And he jumps into the air, and you see his jetpack ignite on his back, firing out sun shard looking energy as he dashes towards you, and he's going to try and knock you off the side of this land bridge and cause you to fall.
Oh.
Maybe I'll fall for him.
You
Holy
provoked
smokes.
him, man. He realizes he can't mess around too much. Does a 24 beat your fortitude DC?
Yes.
All right. He dashes through you and tackles you in the chest, shoving you backwards as he continues to fly through you. And you get to attempt to do a grab and edge reaction. You can roll your choice of an acrobatics check or a reflex DC. Reflex save.
I will do reflex.
Okay, I'll roll it up.
That is a 14.
Oof, my man.
Big oof.
He flies through you and lets go, and you start to backflip, and you try and reach your hand out to grab onto the ledge, and you just barely grasp it, but then it slips on loose rocks as you spin backwards and fall 25 feet to the land bridge directly beneath you, and your back just crunches on this ledge, and you are going to take fall damage of 12. And you look up and see Raul hovering up above. And with that, we'll cut over to Dax, Tough, and Waltz. Man, good
Wait,
use of
that's
that
us.
slow spell, bro. Like a 1 minute.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's
This
nuts.
definitely tilted the fight.
That's a
That
new
was
one. That's the first time I
super
got to
clutch
use
thing
it, but
to
yeah,
do.
that's sweet.
Super strong.
That's
I
definitely
can't
like
wait till
the
we find out
best thing
we
you
are
could
doing
use.
it wrong and it's actually not supposed to be that OP.
It says it. I've just read it. Yeah.
That's wild.
Okay, so I'm going to give you guys some time to yell out to each other or try and come up with some sort of plan or reaction to this. Essentially, Dax, you are very close to the undead. Some of them are maybe even like directly around you or in between them as they're imprecisely dropped in this gap. Waltz and Tough, you are 30 feet away from Dax, and you're now greatly outnumbered, and the Kitsune are reinvigorated, and also Tough, you are illuminated and identified as the bearer of the Flora de Vida.
That's what that arrow did.
Yes.
Okay. And the undead got dropped like in front of the castle entrance.
Basically, that big hole that was blown open from the mortar is where they were dropped to like plug in and fill it up.
Okay.
And that getting in through that hole would have been closer than going in through the normal entrance.
Yeah, for sure. Because that could be barred or closed. It was just like an opening to get into the castle courtyard.
Right. Okay. And it's like, is it a defined number that's put in front of us there? Or you're just saying like there's a mob of undead essentially?
There is a big horde of them that just
Okay.
were dropped off the wings of the Merkvane.
So definitely too much to like sit and attack.
Yeah. So can I just ask Zach, so when he shot me with that grapple and I got out of the rope, is that rope still down by my feet?
Sure.
Which that rope would be attached to the grappling gun.
I would say the grappling gun exploded, but you have like the rope.
Tough still is a grappling thing.
But I would say like you have a 50-foot like grappling rope if you want. You just don't have like the thing.
Okay, I will take it. And it's still got a hook on it?
Yes. You essentially have a grappling hook attached to 50 feet of rope, but it's more like a thin wire instead of like traditional rope.
Okay. And how high is that wall?
20 feet.
And what do I see on top of the wall?
A lot of kitsune with shard rifles.
What else?
Do you want to roll a perception check?
Sure. Just tell me everything that I see around me in the 360 degree radius for the next maybe 60 meters, maybe 200 meters.
How about you just tell me what you rolled on perception? Instead of just
11.
Demanding. Okay. Yeah, now I see why you're being so demanding. Waltz, you're maybe just like grabbing this grappling hook and like pulling it towards you as you see it just like covered in blood on the rope, and you pull the grapple up to you. It's a lot smaller than like a big grappling hook, but you do have this rope, and you're maybe like forming it into a coil as you look back towards the wall, and you just see like a mass of bodies and chaos, and you see the Mergvane perched atop the castle, and you're just like overwhelmed. You would maybe just know that Dax is very near that mass, but that's all you personally could really take in that moment with that perception check.
Okay. Tough. You grab Dax. I'm going up the wall, and I'm going to start running towards the wall.
Wait, with what?
I'm just going to be spinning that grappling hook as I'm trying to approach the wall to get the momentum going.
All right.
I'll watch Waltz running away, look towards the horde of zombies now filling this gap in the wall, and then look up towards the top of the castle that he's about to climb. And I'll just say, it's not the worst idea he's had.
It might be the best.
It honestly might be the best idea.
I don't know. That one time you
Come
brought
up
Geldir with you, so that was a pretty good idea. All right. With that, we're going to enter back into initiative,
Okay.
starting with Waltz.
Beauty. Okay. Am I within range to throw that grappling hook up the wall, or how far away am I from the wall, Zacharnessi?
You were 30 feet from the wall.
All right.
Is he 30 feet now?
I will use one of my actions to get to the wall and another action to try and throw that hook up onto some sturdy piece of architecture that will definitely support me without any problems, even while getting attacked.
Okay. Yeah, roll me an attack roll like it's a thrown weapon. Basically like whatever your throwing a dagger would be for you.
Gotcha. 17.
You twirl the grappling hook and release it, throwing it up onto the wall, and you see it hook onto something, and you're smirk to yourself as you're excited to go and try and climb this and surprised it worked on the first attempt. And then you just see a kitsune's head peer over the wall and look down at the grappling hook, and they just bash it with the rifle, and it like unhooks and then falls back down the wall and then lands at your feet.
I guess I'll throw it. I'll just throw it again.
I love it. Roll it up.
26.
Sick. Waltz, you pull it back up to you, and you just see the kitsune laughing at you, and you're maybe like mocking his laugh, like, oh yeah, like really funny. You like twirl it, and then you just like throw it up, and then it like hooks into the back of his shoulder, and you pull it tight, and it just bashes him into the side of the wall, and he like looks like he's knocked unconscious, and then it hooks back onto the wall, and you feel like you've secured it on the wall. And that'll take us to Dax. Dax, you have undead in front of you. You don't know what's going on. You just see Walt sprinting. You are in like the most dangerous looking position of everyone. What does Dax say or do?
How far-ish am I from where Waltz now is?
Waltz would have kind of had to have like ran at an angle to get away from like the opening. So I'd say he's like 30 feet angled away from you as well.
Okay, cool. With wide eyes, Dax is just kind of staring at all of these undead that just dropped right in front of him. Ponder for just a second, going over all the options in his head, and he is going to, and then scamper. Use his scamper action to move 30 feet, meeting Waltz at the wall, and that gives me that's that +2 against reactions, and +5 feet. So I can move the full 30 feet. Dax will then throw his short sword back in its sheath, and then since he's a cavern kobold, he's gonna start trying to scamper up this wall, climb up this wall.
Roll me an athletics check.
Let's go, Daxy.
29.
Pretty
Awesome.
good.
That is a critical success.
Critical success.
Yes.
You sprint and do like the wall run up the wall and then catch it on a brick that's sticking out a little bit further in the wall and then jump off of
Nice.
that and then grab onto the next slip, and you are already halfway up the wall.
Attaboy, Daxy.
Actually, Zach Ernesti, GM of mine, because I'm a cavern kobold, I move at full speed if I get a critical success
That's
on
right,
a
you
climb.
do.
So I
Yeah.
just moved 25
That's right,
feet up
you
that
do.
wall, baby.
Zips
Yeah,
up
he
that
does.
boy.
Baby. He's up there.
So you get halfway up and then just basically like it just looks like you're crawling up the wall as you keep pushing yourself, and then grab onto the top
yeah.
ledge and then just flip over it and then land back down in the center of two kitsune with shard rifles that look side to side at each other and then down at you.
How did he do that?
How are you guys doing? And that's the end of my turn.
Does he know the way of the wind?
And that'll cut us
God, I love Dax.
to Tough.
That was awesome.
Tough, what do you do?
I'm 30 feet away from the two of them.
Yep.
Okay. Tough just wants to get towards Dax and Waltz as quickly as he can and then start ascending that wall. So I'm going to use my first action to use my blast boots to long jump 30 feet towards them. And then after landing from my blast boots, I'll turn to Waltz and say, "Hey there, big boy."
Hey, buddy. Think you can cover me while I get up there?
Yep, hold tight. And then I fire off my blast boots one more time to now do a high jump up 30 feet to the top of the castle wall.
Very nice.
Nice.
You land right next to Dax, and the two kitsune look at each other.
It is the one. It is the one with the floor of the vida.
Can you give me an idea of how they're lined up across this wall? Like how many are on either side of us right now?
Yeah, I would say to your left, it facing into the castle, there's like a line of like 10 of them, and then to your right, there's like 2, because then it turns into the opening, and then there's like more on the other side.
Got it. Then for my last action, I want to load up into my many shafted gun a star grenade.
All
Details
right.
on that to come later.
Nice.
Stay tuned.
I am in suspense. All right, and that'll take us to the kitsune on the wall, just kind of all around you at this point. And they're no longer able to like really do a volley at you because they could be shooting their own guys, and there's not really like a clear line of sight. So the ones immediately next to Tough and Dax are going to try and attack them. So you're each going to take 2 attacks. They're going to just throw their shard rifles down on the ground.
These do not work. Let's do what we do best.
And they're going to run up to you, and you're each going to take a couple strikes. My goodness, you guys are getting lucky right now. Okay,
Or I'm just really good.
Dax is going to take 1 hit, and they all just pull out their blades, and they're just coming in like chaotically, sliding through one another, slash after slash. You're both blocking a lot of them. Tough, you're ducking under them using your retractable tail, clanking off. Dax, you're rolling through, and there's just too many of them, and Dax, one of the blades manages to slice through and cut you on the shoulder and deals 6 damage. And you see some across the other way, like where the gap is. You see a couple dude decide to fire some rifles into there.
No, what are you doing?
And they shoot over at you guys. Can you each roll me reflex saves?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so close.
I got a 21.
33.
Oh, sick. Okay, Dax, that's like definitely a critical success, so I'm gonna let you do some cool stuff. You see Tough is preoccupied with some of the blades coming in, and then you see them charging shard rifles, and you tackle Tough and push him into the ground as the shard rifles
Hey, what's the big
fire
idea?
over your head, and they just strike the first line of kitsune that were coming at you, and you just see eruptions as their blades fly into the air, and some of them die and fall over dead as Dax saved Tough from getting shot again and killed some of the kitsune around you.
Are you good?
Yeah, fine. And then I just like shove Dax off.
Rude.
And you all hear a rumble and look up to the castle as the Merkbane is crawling around to the other side, peering its head down at all of you, looking huge as you see it starting to glow. You could tell it's been charging up there preparing, curious if it needs to do anything at this point or if it did enough by dropping off these undead. It is watching you, and you know you don't have a ton of time before it might decide to do something, and that'll take us back to Waltz.
I climb.
Do
I
it, bro.
climb.
Roll me an athletics check.
Okay. 19.
Okay. That is a regular success. As you start to climb this wall, you make it 5 feet up. You can roll me 2 more checks if you want to use the rest of your actions to climb.
23.
There you go. 5 more feet. Roll me another athletics check. Just
The
want you to
climb
get
mechanics
Get
of
a critical
Pathfinder.
success, bro. Get a
25.
There you go, bro. That's a critical success.
Yeah.
That gets you the other 10 feet. So Waltz,
Thanks,
you
guys.
grip the ropes and you
Waltz,
put your feet
Waltz.
against the wall and you start climbing it, and your biceps, dude, they're flexing, bro. It's like when Captain America was holding that helicopter near the helicopter pad and he just had that sick bicep pump, and you're climbing your way
and I'm
up.
the helicopter.
Okay. And you make your way to the top of the wall as you spin over the ledge and land on your feet, just as you see Dax tackle tough and shard rifles fly over and take over some of the kitsune, and the 3 of you are now grouped together.
Hey-oo.
Work to next.
And that'll take us to Dax.
Looking at the castle where the Merkfing is, Tough is to my left. I'm assuming Waltz is to my right. Similar to how awestruck Dax was with the big old pile of undead that dropped right in front of him, he is now awestruck by the glowing Merkfang that is way closer than it was before, towering over, glowing, being real spooky. I want to make a perception check if I can to look inside the wall. Like if we were to go down the wall on the other side inside the castle, like what sort of terrain or combatants or whatever am I looking at in there?
Okay. Can you roll me a perception check?
Yeah. 24.
Dax, as you hear Kitsune reloading shard rifles, trying to work their way towards you, draw out their swords, making their way. You hear the hums of the Merkvane atop the castle, and you look down into the courtyard and see that there are just Kitsune running around everywhere, even undead soldiers that seem to have been like coming out of the caverns from below. You feel like you're pretty overwhelmed and don't know exactly what it is you're supposed to do, but you do know that there is a castle in the center of this courtyard. And as you're feeling just a little overwhelmed, you do hear off in the horizon the sounds of hippogriffs chirping and wings flapping coming from the same direction the Merkvane came.
Ooh.
All right. I'll look to my left and look to my right into the eyes of my allies here and say, guys, we got to get in there. I don't want to be out there when he's ready to go. You guys ready to jump? As he's saying that, Dax will clench his fists, conjure up a ball of fire, and just shoot it at one of the kitsune that he sees. I feel like at this point it almost doesn't matter which one, but there are so many of them. That is that's only an 18.
That hits.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Sick.
Well done.
Ooh.
What is it?
That is 14 fire damage.
Nice.
This is a horrific sight. You just grab onto. Oh, you're hurling fire, right?
Yeah, that's how I picture
Okay.
it. That's not how it's described.
Hurl a ball of fire that flies down the path as one of the kitsune was stumbling over the dead bodies from the shard rifle shot with a sword raised, and then it just wraps around his body, and he just like ignites in flame, and he's like screaming and like running around. He's not quite dead, but he's just like bouncing off the walls and like stumbling around, swiping his sword. Some of the other kitsune are stepping back,
What sorcery is this?
and that'll take us to Tough.
In response to what Dax just said about getting into the castle and being ready to jump, Tuff will kind of look at Dax and look over to Waltz and go, all right, fine by me, but just 1 second. And then he'll turn towards the row of kitsune to his left. This'll teach you to shoot at me. And then I am going to fire off the star grenade that I loaded into my many-shafted gun last turn.
Very nice.
Oh my goodness.
I'd like to try to aim this 25 feet away from us, like sort of at the center-ish maybe of where all these kitsune are across us here, because what it does is it it arranges 2 perpendicular 25-foot lines over the target and makes, kind of like a cross type shape of flames.
That's wild.
Is this the moderate one? The item level 3 one?
Yes. And it says, creatures other than the target within these 2 lines take splash damage. Typically 8 squares take splash damage or a medium creature. Any effect that alters or adjusts the splash damage area, shape, or size, like the alchemist feat, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it doesn't matter.
Dang.
So that's why I was hoping I could get it like in a line to get all of those ones.
Yeah. Yeah, they would
the
take
left.
the 2 splash damage, and then the target would take the full damage. Sounds like.
Okay.
Because it says everyone on the line takes a splash damage.
Okay, so the target takes just the damage that I roll, and then everybody else takes just the
2d8, and then
splash
everyone
damage.
takes 2, yeah. So
Okay,
it sounds like.
cool.
All right, roll up your attack roll.
Okay. 9 plus 15 is 24.
Dang, that definitely hits. You fire out this star grenade that just like spins through the air and strikes the target directly and just kills this kitsune as it explodes in their chest, and then just sends out a beam in like a cross pattern that just rains sparks and fire down onto all the kitsune in this line as you see a bunch of them start to catch fire on their fur. The one that was running around from Dax's flame just takes a little bit more fire over them, and then they just burn out and die, and then the rest of the kitsune are like running around on fire. Just complete chaos.
Take that, you stupid dogs.
You guys have like really started to like thin out this wall, and there's like less shots like coming your way and stuff. Is that the end of your turn, Tuff?
No, it's not. So I would also like to start making my way down this wall, and I want to use my extendable tail to attach in to the top of this wall here, and then jump from the wall so that I at least have the distance of my extendable tail to kind of initiate that sort of rappelling down, I guess you might call it.
That's a good idea.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, you hook your tail on and start to rappel down, and then you're gonna drop, or you're just hanging there right now?
I'm just going to hang there for right now because that'll take up the rest of my actions, but next round I'll go the rest of the way.
Awesome. Tough. You start to hang down from the wall and look into the courtyard at just like everything that's before you, just like all these soldiers that are flooding into the courtyard, and maybe undead as well. And Waltz, you're thinking about how you're going to be jumping down and fighting through these, and Dax, you're thinking the same, and it kind of just is starting to feel like maybe this plan is a little hopeless. Wondering even if like you can barge into the castle, what's inside there. There's just 3 of you, and this Merkbane is starting to hum and clearly take interest in Tough as he's advancing, keeping a keen eye on him. He's glowing even brighter now, and he starts to crawl his way down the castle, leaps down onto the wall beneath him, and opens his wings up like he's about to soar down into the courtyard, or maybe even intercept Tough himself, who is still glowing from this magical spell that's been placed on him. And then Dax, you tilt your head again and start to try and zero in on the sounds that you heard before of the hippogriffs, which were growing louder and louder, and chirps can be heard as, piercing through the mist, you see an entire squad of these hippogriffs flying in, and they soar over the castle and throw bombs down into the courtyard that erupt and then just start killing many of the kitsune and zombies ahead of you.
Nice.
And you hear the most familiar chirp of all as Smith soars down onto the wall and lands next to you with Elyara and Zoki on her back. The Merkbane raises their head and tilts, looking confused, and Elyara hops off of Smith. Zoki climbs down as well, and Elyara, she grips firmly onto Waltz, maybe can't even see Tough right now, and says,
Where is Tough? What happened?
He's down there, and I'll point.
she looks down. Tough, you're just dangling there. There's just complete chaos going on as like hippogriffs are soaring down. Some are flying through with swords and slicing other kitsune off the wall. There's a full-on battle going on now, and there's just chaos, and you're kind of melded into it for just a moment.
I'll just wave at her.
Elyara! Get him up here. What is he doing, this fool?
Zoki's like,
Oh, this plan isn't going well.
We're going to the castle. We can't be out here with that thing. Pointing at the Merkbane.
Was this your plan? All along. This is not subtle. They know you are coming.
You think?
There is no hope to penetrate the castle now. They are defending it with their lives. The Merkbane, perks overhead. We must get Tough out of here. Get up.
Penetrate the castle? I'm already in it.
Eliara, if I take care of that merc thing, you think you could get tough inside the castle?
Excuse me?
She looks at you and tilts her head, and she looks over her shoulder at the Merkbane that suddenly just let out a burst of lightning that just incinerates many of the kitsune that were flying through the air on hippogriffs to your guys' defense, and is just engaging more of them in battle right now and clearly demonstrating its insane power as it's doing its best to thin out the invading force. And she looks at you and says,
You, take out the Merkvane.
I never said anything about taking it out, and I'll take the saddle and throw it on the Smith.
Let's go.
you slap the saddle onto Smith, who nudges you with his beak, excited to see you, and then suddenly the saddle expands and armor grows around it and forms tightly around Smith. Taylor
This is
fits
what
you
I've
in.
been waiting for.
So this is what you've been carrying around this whole time?
Heck yes.
Heck yes.
Smith, what do you say, buddy? You think we could get that thing away from the castle and give these guys some time?
Smith turns over his head, and you've seen him like look at Drakes before and just have his eyes bug out of his head, and when you're fighting Sindor. But this is personal to Smith, and you guys don't know this, but he knows Renard is dead, and Renard died for this battle. And for all you know, Smith's ready to die too. And he just looks at you and nods with a snort. And Eliara tilts her head, looking a bit surprised by Cervantes' reaction to that as well. And she says,
Sure, perhaps you cannot fly this Merkvane. Perhaps you can survive. And even still, if we could penetrate the castle, I do not think there is any hope of getting the Flora de Vida all the way to Caverna de Luz in a direct assault.
and she's thinking, pacing back and forth with all the chaos, and Zoki goes,
What about the cliffs? The other entrance. Could we fly there and get Tough in that way?
keep in mind, they don't know that Tough doesn't have the floor. They're talking about how to get the Flora de Vida there.
Right.
They gonna be pissed when they find out.
Well, part of me is even thinking now that it might even actually benefit us a little bit to have Tough act as a further distraction and then start flying away with you on Smith.
I really want to go fight this Merkvane with the Smith.
Well, me getting to Caverna de Luz isn't technically like the end goal for us.
Doesn't matter, yeah.
Right.
We're just trying to waste time.
Yeah. We're just trying to make it look like we're trying to do something like that. So that's why I'm like, it might even benefit us even more for if you want to get on Smith, have Tough go with you too, and act as a bigger distraction going towards these cliffs or flying off somewhere else now to get people to chase us there.
Okay. So yeah, we just gotta get them away, huh?
So basically, like if someone took Tough on Smith, which Waltz has been carrying the saddle, he's ready for this. If you took him away, then it's like trying your best to outlast the Merkvane as long as possible without the Merkvane killing Tough to figure out he doesn't have it is like,
Yeah.
and then giving everyone else a chance here to like survive because the Merkvane's just like tearing through everybody.
Mm-hmm. I feel that does kind of split the party a little bit too, unless Dax gets his own hippogriff.
Honestly, I think what would be going through Dax's head and Joel's head would be, all right, if you guys are splitting off, I'm gonna go try to help Jhuls.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, Tough doesn't have the Florida Vita. If I take Smith and I grab Tough, we'll get as far away from here as we can and try and lure that Merkvane away.
Eliara her eyes are darting back and forth, and then she pulls Tough back up onto the wall and then moves his sash out of the way and looks into his core.
Hey.
And then looks back over her shoulder at all the chaos and then just puts the sash in front of it.
Then who has it?
Jhuls.
By himself? What are you guys thinking?
It's a good plan, all right?
What do you guys call it, Tough? A boom and zoom?
Yeah, close enough. Nice try, Dax.
It's a boom and zoom, yeah. They've done it plenty of times.
Eliara has her face in her hands and she looks really stressed, just like rubbing her face. And then she takes a deep exhale.
Okay, but they think Tough has it, yes? Surely I did.
Yeah, he's being targeted pretty heavily, so I feel like it'll be effective. Not necessarily safe, and I'll look over at Tough, but it should buy some time.
I like where your head's at. Yeah, the more distractions we can make, the better.
All right, Smith, what do you say? You think you could handle me and Tough here?
Just scoops his head under Tough and flicks him onto his back.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, boy.
All right, it's settled then, and I'll jump onto Smith too.
Guys, I can't say I love this plan. I mean, Jhuls is gonna be furious when he finds out you did this, but I don't know what options we have. I guess I'll go try to see if I can help him at all. I'll get there as fast as I can.
Eliara nods to Dax and then looks to Zoki and the rest of the soldiers fighting out amidst the courtyard.
We will do our best to occupy the forces and make this assault look legitimate. But yes, draw away the Merkvane. We will not stand a chance if he is here.
You got it.
Hearing Dax say that he's going to go help out Jhuls doesn't sit amazingly with Tough in that moment.
Sure.
And he'll just shout to Dax, hey, remember what we talked about on the boat.
Dax will look Tough directly in the eyes and say, Jhuls is one of the only friends I've ever had. I'm not going to let him die. And then Dax will look down and see Waltz's grappling hook, smirk, pick it up, turn it in his hand a few times, and look back and say, I think you're going to need this, and toss it to Waltz.
Thanks, buddy. Good luck out there.
Hey, if anything does happen to Jhuls, I still got plenty of bombs with your name on it.
Don't worry. I know Dax pretty well. He won't let us down.
As Waltz says that, more explosions erupt in the courtyard and remind you of the urgency of what you're doing. And Eliara says,
No more plan Bs. This is it. Get it done.
and she turns around and draws her blade and jumps down into the courtyard. Zoki puts her hand on Dax's shoulder and nods. Smith looks back to all of you, snorts, opens his wings, and kicks off the wall, his armor glistening in the moonlight as he takes off towards the city, the Merkvane whipping its head around, seeing Tufts glow, and kicks off the ground and begins to soar after you. And that is where we'll end our session.
What's gonna happen?
Whoa,
I don't know,
yo,
man.
crazy.
This
I want
I
to talk
don't know.
about how
This is nuts.
the Waltz and Tough
You know what's
adventure's
good,
gonna
though?
go. Waltz,
You know what
Waltz
makes me
and
feel
Tough
great
show.
about that adventure?
Yeah, we haven't
is
really
the last time
experienced that before.
we had one like that with Jhuls and Ryu on a hippogriff. that
Right, it's-
adventure. Cool stuff
Traditionally
happened.
goes well.
So I'm pretty excited to see how
Very
that goes.
cool.
Yeah, but anyway, you know what, guys? I'm a little upset. You let me talk,
Why's that?
and you know that we're supposed to shut up and not talk about the episode
Oh, we
Guys?
did talk about
Until
that.
the
didn't we?
downtime.
until the
Dang
down.
it.
Yeah, that's right. Does anyone know who the
Let's just
downtime's
talk
for?
now.
Who's the downtime
Yeah.
for? Does anyone know?
I mean, it's a little late, so we should just keep
shut-
talking. We should talk now.
Downtime,
etc.
it's for
Yes,
Ryan, your
Ryan?
hands raised. Who's the downtime
What's up?
for?
Yeah, I'm the only one with my hand raised.
Okay, what is it, Ryan?
Go ahead, Ryan.
Patreon.
It's for patrons. All right, that's for patrons, and we react to the most
Oh,
recent episode in that
I
one.
knew
So you guys
that.
need to shut up because this isn't the one for the patrons. So shut up. We'll do that later. Cool. And let's just I don't know. Let's react to some stuff. Sheesh. I don't know. Oh hey, I saw a cool Spotify comment today. I really liked it. I think I sent it to you guys. I'm gonna read it. Guys. I'll read it on the show. This one was from Zach Blorpton.
That's
And
you.
Zach Blorpton said on season 2, episode 7, where I must have said like, hey, if you've been listening this long and haven't written a review, you should write us a review. They said, you're right. I'm 50 episodes in and haven't left a review. This is a great actual play podcast. I was in a group who broke up due to time constraints. Your podcast fills the nostalgic nights. With one exception, I don't get to roll some dice. The atmosphere you all provide
You had me.
is what all players want in a group. I love the content and I've listened on my commute to and from work, so I get an episode a day. Thanks for all your work to bring this content out. Well, thank you, Zach, who is
Thanks,
me.
Zach.
That's awesome.
That's what Ryan
Zach.
said when I sent the picture. You guys said, thanks, Zach. Like I wrote the review. That was funny. No, that was Zach Blorpton.
Sorry about your group, but
I know,
Yeah.
right? That's
Hopefully
like
you can
90% of the
play
reason
soon.
we started a podcast, so we couldn't quit even if we wanted to.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're never
tell
allowed
that
to
wide.
quit.
We're not
we
allowed
have
to quit
to.
anymore. We have to play.
We have to.
Yeah, that's how you win at life. Make all of your hobbies obligations.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. And then you have no excuse but
said.
to have fun. There you go. Well, thank you for the nice comment. I love the Spotify comments. Hey, also, yeah, just like must have said in that episode, if you've been listening this long, haven't given us a rating, or if you're on Apple Podcasts or Podcast Addict and haven't written a review, hey, please do it. It really helps us out. And it's a nice thing to do. It's really nice. Please do it. And we will see you next time, mortals.
Smith, what do you say, buddy? You think we could get that thing away from the castle and give these guys some time to save your f***ing home, Smith? I just cut it there.
Smith turns over his head.